Good evening, friends, and welcome to yet another awesome session by Mindful Living today. We really appreciate your taking out the time and joining us today. It's a Saturday evening, 6 p.m. You could have been out with your family or friends enjoying a nice evening, but you have taken out time to be here, and that speaks a lot about your commitment to improving your quality of thinking and quality of life. And let me assure you, friends, that you will not be disappointed. We have got an exciting evening planned for you, which is the book reading session on the latest book from Rhonda Byrne's, The Greatest Secret. Her first book, many of you would be aware, is this wonderful book called The Secret, which was published in 2006 and has been read by millions of people across the world and very, very widely followed. The law of attraction became a movement after this book was published. And then another gem which came from Rhonda Byrne was this book called The Magic, which turned around my life. And I am thankful to COVID, because it is during this period that I got introduced to the magic. Literally, it's been magical for me. I started reading this book on 1st of July 2020, and I finished reading it on 28th of July. There are 28 chapters and exercises, one for each day. And in those 28 days, during COVID period, when everything was locked down, my income went up by 40%. And, there were so many other magical things which happened, including improvement in my health, in my relationships, and so many other things. So absolutely, it's truly magical. This book is so amazing. And this is my copy, which is, kind of torn and because of having read it so many times. And that brings us to the very latest book from Rhonda Byrne, The Greatest Secret. And this is literally the greatest secret, because once the greatest secret is revealed, then, beyond that, I don't think there is much more for us to learn and do. And to read the book for us, we have Mekhla with us today. Mekhla is an entrepreneur and a healer. She is an HR professional, having worked for over 19 years with leading corporates, multinational corporates like GE Capital, Fidelity Investments. Currently, she leads a company which is in education research, GHRDC, Global Human Research and Development Company. And she's a spiritual junkie, practicing yoga. She's a certified Reiki and Theta healer, Feng Shui expert, tarot card reader, practitioner of Buddhism, traveler. She runs a very successful bakery and is a photographer. So we are very happy to have you with us, Mekhla, reading for the book reading session. Welcome. Thank you, Mekhla. Friends, before is it okay? How many of you are joining the session for the first time? How many of you are joining a mindful living session for the first time? If you're joining the session for a first time, please type F in the chat box. Or if it is your second session, please type S. If it is your third session, please type T. If you have attended more than 3 sessions, please type M. If it is your first session, F, second session, S, third session, T, and more than 3. Okay, thank you, Push. Thank you, Himanji. So happy to have you. Thank you, second, okay, third, okay. So I guess most of you know me. Then I'll skip the part of the introduction. Thank you, friends. We really appreciate your joining us. What I will request you, we are a small group today. Please keep your cameras on. It is so much better, to look at you, to look at your smiling faces and do the book reading rather than look at the black tiles. I assure you, it's no good, but when we look at you and your smiling faces, it's good fun. And please keep your notepad and pen ready in case you want to take down some notes. Or if you have your book, you can write in the book, but keep something handy so that you can make the most of this session today. And before I hand it over to Mekhla, I'll request you to share one expectation or the intention that you have for joining the session. You can unmute and speak, or you can type in the chat. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Sumitji. Thank you, Hemanji. So while you're sharing your expectations and intentions, maybe Mekhla, you could start, and I'll share them with you as we get them.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Good evening, everyone. It is absolutely an honor and pleasure to be here today to do this book review and reading on a very beautiful book, The Greatest Secret. So I'm assuming that some of you may be knowing about this book and the author, and some of you present here may not be knowing about the author and the book and the sequels that she has written in the past. So I'll just take a few minutes to first of all give you an understanding about who Rhonda Byrne is and how did her first book, The Secret, which became a bestseller, came into being, and how did the other sequels come into being, and then we'll move on to The Greatest Secret. So Rhonda Byrne is basically born and brought up in Melbourne, Australia. She was the executive and has been an executive producer of various television series. So she was doing all right in life, but in 2004, she lost her father and went through immense, deep depression. And apart from that, she also went through a huge financial, challenge in her life where she started getting these various obstacles in terms of manifesting money. And, she really came to that state where she did not have enough money to start her life and move on with life and things like that. And of course, we all know that when financial challenges happen, it starts to affect our relationship, it starts to affect our health and various other aspects. So that is when her daughter insisted that she start reading some books. And one particular book that she wanted her mother to read, Rhonda Byrne to read, was The Science of Getting Rich. This is a very old book. You may have heard of this book. I'll just share the Wikipedia link also. It's called The Science of Getting Rich, which was published in 1910 by Wallace D. Wattles. And this is basically a book which emphasizes on the power of positive thinking, the laws of attraction, and how to variously find success in life. And with this book, she became hooked on to this concept of manifestation and laws of attraction. And she started doing a lot of research on this subject, because the more she got into it, she started feeling that things were changing around her. And then after doing a 2-year long research, she finally came with her first book, which was called The Secret, which I'm sure a lot of us would be knowing. This got published in 2006, and those of us who have read this book would know that this book became an enormous success. It was published in more than 50 languages, 19 million copies, broke the profit records for her and things like that. And once the book became successful, she went on to produce a DVD, a movie by the name The Secret. And even during the production of the movie, she talks about various financial challenges that she came through. And at every step, she applied the principles of The Secret that she has mentioned in the book, and how the movie got completed with various spiritual authors, leaders, people being a part of that series. So that is how The Secret kind of, got made, conceptualized, and then it affected the lives of so many people. I mean, if you go onto the site of The Secret, you'll see real life stories of people manifesting things in their life related to health, relationship, money, anything and everything, basically. So it is of course a wonderful book. But just to give you a premise of what this book is about, this book and the sequels that she has come up with in the later years are all to do with the laws of attraction and manifestation power and process. So she talks about 3 areas in life. The first step is to ask what you want. The step 2 is to believe in what you want, and the third step is to receive what you want. So if I had to summarize The Secret and the consequent books that she has come up with, these are the 3 things that she has been talking about in various terms. So ask what you want. Specifically, she writes about that it's very easy for us to say, okay, I want a new car. But she says, be very specific about what you want in terms of having clarity in life about what you want. We all ask for random things in life, but she specifically very asks us to be very clear in our head first of all as to what do we really want. And then she says that once you ask for that desire, you have to believe with absolute 100% certainty that this will come true. This will be given to you. There should not be even an iota of doubt anywhere, irrespective of the time, space it is taking to manifest that. So that is the step 2 that she says. And she says that believe is the most important step, even more than asking and receiving, because if we falter in our believing, then the first and the third step doesn't really matter. So, and then she moves on to the third step, which is receiving, where you actually manifest that particular thing that you've asked for and believed in. And, that's how she talks about it. And she, in her previous books, have, described a lot about negative and positive emotions, feelings, thoughts, beliefs. And she has gone into a lot of detailing on these aspects. So this is a little bit about what The Secret was about, what some of her other books were about. Ashish mentioned about the magic. The magic also made a profound impact on me personally. I read this book about 3-4 years ago, and this book really talks about the power of gratitude. So there are 2 kinds of things that she talks about. One is gratitude for what is happening in your life currently, but also having gratitude for something that you want to manifest in your life, but hasn't happened yet. Right? So let's say, for example, thank you for such a wonderful holiday that I am having with my family. That holiday really hasn't happened right now. It will happen, let's say, a month from now, but you've already paid your gratitude towards it. And more than just saying the words, what she emphasizes on is feeling those feelings of gratitude, really feeling it. And that is that feeling is what gives the gratitude practice the power. So she talks about the power of saying thank you, thank you, thank you 3 times in that book. So this is just to give you an idea of what line of thoughts she talks about in The Secret. She came out with a wonderful book called The Power in 2010, then The Magic in 2012. 2013 she came up with another book called The Hero. And then, of course, the book that we are reviewing today and doing a reading with together, The Greatest Secret, came in, into being in 2020 November. And last year, she came up with another very interesting book that was The Secret to Love, Health, and Money. That is her latest book right now. And basically, that money, that book is an accumulation and summarization of all her previous concepts that she has sort of put into one book. So now let's go back to this was a little bit about Rhonda Byrne and what were her concepts and beliefs about life and how we have the power to change anything in our life. We can attract anything in our life just on the basis of our thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and emotions, and how we can really have control over them. So when I bought this book for the first time, I must share that I thought that this book will be sort of an extension to what Rhonda Byrne has been writing on these aspects. And I really enjoy reading these kind of things, about, how we can empower ourselves and take our future into control. But when I started reading this book, the first 10 pages just blew my mind, because suddenly I realized it had nothing to do with ask, believe, and receive. In fact, it was not even talking about it in even one single page. So suddenly I thought, okay, this is a very deeply spiritual book, which is talking about something completely different. Who are we? Why are we here? And things like that. And it was not really, interesting me so much as the other books did. And I started to think that probably this is a mistake and, this is something completely different. I'm not able to relate to this book right now. But as I started pushing myself, I was sharing with Ashish that I paused for about 15-20 days. I started the book, I paused because I got bored. But then I pushed myself to complete the book. And as I progressed, I understood the profundity of what she had written in this book and how deep this is. So what we may discuss today may sound very heavy or deeply spiritual, but I would urge everyone today to really read this book and practice it, because the value of this book is all about practice. The steps that she has mentioned, the beautiful tool that she has talked about in this book, which we'll be discussing right now. So before we get into the welcoming practice and the tools that she has talked about, which is the core aspect of this book, I want to give the readers a brief, overview of what she starts the book with. So I'll move on to the pages. I don't know if everybody has the book, but if you do, um, there is a chapter, which is the first chapter, page number 9. In case you have the book, you can open that page and we'll start reading the first paragraph. And she starts with this premise where she says, we've all accepted many false ideas and beliefs throughout our lives. And those false ideas and beliefs have kept us enslaved. We've been told that there's limitation and lack in the world, that there's not enough money, time, resources, love, or health. Life is short. You're only human. You have to work hard and struggle to get somewhere in life. We're running out of resources. The world is in turmoil. The world needs saving. But the moment you see the truth, those mistruths will crumble and your happiness will arise from the ruins. So she starts with this premise where she's saying that we are born with these kind of preconceived beliefs, notions about what life is all about. And then I move on to the same page. This is the fifth paragraph, the second last paragraph. You might think it's normal to be plagued by negative emotions throughout your day, but life isn't supposed to be that way. You can live your life utterly free of upset, hurt, worry, and fear and exist in continuous happiness. So she's giving us that hope and saying that, we are not meant to be suffering. We are not meant to be upset all the time. We are really not meant to be this way. We are actually meant to be really happy in life. We're actually meant to be joyful, and that's our true nature at all times. So she starts with this premise. And then I move on to the next page, which is page number 10. And this is the fourth paragraph on page number 10. The truth is, you're not a person who has no control over what has happened to you in your life. You're not a person who has to slave at a job you don't like, only to die at the end of it all. You're not a person who has to struggle from paycheck to paycheck. You're not a person who needs to prove yourself or who needs anybody else's approval. The truth is, you are not really a person at all. You are most certainly having the experience of being a person, but in the bigger picture, it's not who you are. It's what she's really saying is we are just having a human experience. We are souls having a human experience. We are consciousness having a human experience. So she's now starting with this concept and now taking us to various other ideas. So I will now take you through the next page, which is page number 15. And there is one big paragraph on this page. And she says, imagine this. Whatever has weighed on you suddenly no longer weighs. It may still be there, a factor in your life, but it has no mass, no gravity. All that has ever troubled you is now just a feature of the landscape, like a tree, a passing cloud. Every bit of emotional and mental turmoil has ceased. The entire burden, some form of which has been with you as long as you can remember. A thing familiar as your closest friend, as much a part of you as the language you speak, the color of your skin, is utterly, inexplicably gone. Into the startling emptiness flows a quiet joy that buoys you morning, noon, and night, that goes everywhere you go, into any kind of circumstance, even into sleep. Everything you undertake happens effortlessly. You are happy, but for no reason. Nothing bothers you. You feel no stress. When a problem arises, you know what to do. You do it and then you let it go. People that used to drive you crazy no longer do. While you feel compassion for others suffering, you don't suffer yourself. Activities that used to be tedious are fun. You don't need therapy. You don't get bored, anxious, or moody. Except when needed for a task, your mind is at rest. Your life is entirely fulfilled without you having to do anything to fulfill it. You know that no matter what challenge you are handed for the rest of your life, the peace will sustain. Never again will you be afraid, desperate, lonely. Whatever comes your way, this causeless joy will hold. Imagine it. And she then says, this is your life with the greatest secret. So this is how she opens the book. She says, this is what I'm going to tell you today has the capability of making you become. So this is your future self, with this tool that I'm going to show you today, this tool that I'm going to teach you today, this is what you can really become. And this is really your destiny. So now with this premise and background, let's delve into some of our other concepts.
Yeah. Mekhla, maybe we should just pause here because we are introducing the concept here. Let's hear from the people who are there, whether, this resonates with you, because for normally when we hear something like this for the first time, that there is no lack in the world, it hits us because we are all used to seeing there is lack of money, there is lack of resources, lack of water, or that's what people have us believe, that, we're running out of water, we're running out of clean air, we're running out of money, this, that. So do you really believe what Rhonda is saying? Does this resonate with you? And she's saying, imagine what if this is not true? And what if there is a life which is full of happiness, full of sustainable peace? So just we'll pause here for a couple of seconds and see if you have any comments. Are you with us? And we'll also like to hear how many of you have book. So in case you have a book, please raise your hand so that we know you have the book to look at or comment, just so whatever. Let us know if you have the book. Let us know what your thoughts are on what we have discussed so far. Anyone? Yes, Siddharth. We can't hear you clearly, Siddharth.
She was my teacher. Did my coach training in Bombay and in Manapur rather with Sinha and Prashant. I am a medical doctor and a pulmonologist also by profession. But I firmly believe what just now was read out. But I have been able to talk on my work to a great extent. And now I tell people that you don't need medicines for cure. What you need to do is you just have to remain happy and joyful. And happiness and joy, that is what we are here to experience. And thereafter I've also been listening to Swami Sarvapriya Nanda, who talks about non-dualism.
So that's why your voice is not clear. Please type in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. So I really believe. Can you hear me? Can't hear me? Hello.
Disturbance in the audio, sir.
Okay. I just telling that I really believe in what is being discussed just now.
Okay, maybe you can type in the chat, sir.
Okay, I just type in the chat box.
Thank you so much. We have got some comments. Just that. Balaji says the concept is entirely contrary to what we believe. And that is true. So what I would like you to do for now is just to open yourself up to a possibility. What if, we are not asking you to believe that it is possible, but just ask yourself that question. What if, sustainable peace is possible? What if lasting happiness is possible? What if there is no lack, and there is abundance? So just become aware of that, and that awareness itself, or that shift in consciousness itself, will start moving things for you. Divya says abundance attracts abundance. Thank you. Siddharth says, I fully believe in what Rhonda Byrne has said. Thank you so much, Siddharth sir. Unfortunately, there is a disturbance in your audio, so we couldn't hear you. I have started experiencing manifestation of my thoughts in the last 3-4 years. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you, Siddharth sir. And Mekhla, may I request you to move on?
Yes, absolutely, Ashish.
Comment from Divya: intention, attention, manifestation. Thank you, Divya, for sharing that.
Yeah. So moving on, she asks us a very important question. And to be very honest, I think we've all read it in Bhagavad Gita. Some of us who have gone through some of those spiritual texts, and some of us who have read Vedas, or say any other text for that matter on spirituality. So she touches that subject very beautifully and in a very simple way, and she says, This is again now the second chapter that we are now moving on to, and this is the first page of the second chapter, page 19. And the heading of that paragraph is "You are not your body," right? So she moves on to say, we came into this world to be a body in order to learn that we are not a body. I'll repeat this again for people, to really for this to go deep within. We came into this world to be a body in order to learn that we are not a body. Right? So just stay with this thought and then let's just discuss it further. So just as you use a car to get from one location to another, your body is a vehicle you use to move around and to experience the world. And then she says, if you have a car, you do not say you are the car. Why then, if you have a body, do you say you are the body? Right? So they're just trying to make us understand that we become beings over a period of many lifelines, generations, periods, that we've started identifying ourselves through our body. We have started giving our identity through our body. So the next thing she says is in the same page 20, where she says, this is 6th paragraph, we have forgotten what we are and we have identified ourselves with objects. I am this body, therefore I'm going to die. And that is the end of life. And that is what we relate to, that these are the kind of concepts we attach ourselves to. And then the next concept she talks about in page number 21 is, you are not your mind. Okay, and this is the last paragraph on page number 21. The voice in your head is not you, yet you've probably believed it is you for most of your life. While the voice in your head sounds like you, seems to know a lot about you, and has become very familiar to you, it's definitely not you. The voice in your head is your mind, and you are not your mind. So these are the two most profound concepts she starts with, where she says, please do not get attached to the concept that we are our body or we are our mind. We have to now open ourselves to a far more deeper understanding of who we really are. And then I skip a few pages and I move on to the next page, which is page number 30. And this is the first paragraph. Life is not about solving a lot of little problems because they will never end. Life points us to one essential thing that has been overlooked, our own true and unchanging self. Mankind as a whole is living largely in the mistaken idea that we are fundamentally a person with a body as opposed to our true self. So all along, we have been living with this idea that we are our body, we are our mind, but actually we are not. And because we are so attached to this concept of being a body and our mind, we have also experienced life in certain ways. And we may call that word a suffering, a world of suffering. So this is what she's trying to open us to. She's opening our mind with the second chapter, where she's saying that this is what we are not. And then she goes on to reveal what is the greatest secret. And that is given on page 31. And it says, the reveal. And she says, let me ask you one simple question. The question is, are you aware? I'll repeat this question for all our readers and listeners. Are you aware is the question she's asking us right now. So ask yourself that question. Am I aware? Okay. And then she goes on to say, your answer must be yes. Otherwise, you wouldn't be aware of the question I just asked you. So let me ask you again. Are you aware? Yes, you are aware. You were aware as a baby, through your childhood, your teenage years, and throughout adulthood. You've been aware your entire life. Awareness is and has been the only constant in your life. Your body keeps changing. Your mind keeps changing. Thoughts, feelings, and sensation all keeps changing. But the one thing that has never changed is your awareness of it all. And that awareness is who you really are. So she started with the premise by saying you're not your body, you're not your mind. And then she moves on to this very important question, are you aware? So now we need to ask this question to ourselves, am I aware? Right? And then she moves on to the next part of this, where she writes on page number 34. This is a quote by Muji. The moment you meet awareness, something in you recognizes it. And she goes on to explain it why. Why do we recognize the moment we meet awareness? You're aware of reading this book. You're aware of the sounds around you. You're aware of the room you are in. You're aware of your name. You're aware of your body and the clothes on your body, your breathing and bodily sensations. You're aware of the roof of your mouth, the soles of your feet and your fingers. You're aware of your mind, the thoughts in your head, and your feelings and moods. In fact, you couldn't know or experience any of life at all without awareness. And that is who we really are. So this is a beautiful concept that she really opens up to. But yes, we've all been reading about this concept all along through our meditation tools, practices, various spiritual texts that we've been reading, both in Hindu mythology and ideologies and various other religious texts as well, where awareness and consciousness is the concept that we've all been asked to, reflect on. And then I move on to the beautiful practice that she talks about. So first of all, she talks about the concept of how to stay in awareness. And this I would like to explain through page number 53. So there is a...
Mekhla, is it okay if we pause for a couple of seconds?
Yes, absolutely.
Hear from people, because this is a very powerful and a new concept, if I may say, because I distinctly remember Sadhguru mentioning it. The first time I heard I'm not the body, I'm not the mind was from Sadhguru, and I thought to myself, what is he talking about? Because when you hear it, I don't know how many of you are hearing it for the first time, but if you like me, are like me, how I was a couple of years ago, you must be wondering, what are we talking about? So any thoughts on what does this mean to you? What is the implication that I'm not the body or I'm not the mind? What does that mean? And what are its implications?
Yes, hi, Suresh here.
Yes, Suresh.
Yeah, thanks for telling about this Sadhguru's thing. In fact, as part of my volunteering thing, last 10 years, I'm using this mantra every day. We are supposed to recite this when you wake up. Correct. But as rightly put it, it's a very deep line. Very honestly and mechanically, I'm telling this without even understanding the full consciousness. Correct. So definitely, I'll be glad to hear views on this from people, from others in this arena. Thank you.
So thank you, Suresh, for sharing that. And one of the things that this realization helped me was to make peace with the fact that of the loss of my father. So when I lost my father at a very early age, and it was very traumatic for me. He was young, I was younger, and when I knew that we are not body, because there is a Gita part which happens when somebody passes away, but then it doesn't sink in at that time. But when it finally sunk in that we are not the body, then I made with the peace with the fact that my father is around in the energy form somewhere. So I don't feel that loss or that trauma now. And for a very long period of time, I used to be scared. Like, my father went out one day and he didn't come back home. So I always had this fear in my mind, whenever I would leave for office or I would take a flight, whether I'll come back home or not, whether my family will see me or not. But when I started realizing that, I am energy, they are energy, we are not bodies, but we are spirit. And, then I also started believing in the greater power that is there, and that, everybody will be taken care of. It's not only me who has to, when we are limited by our body and by our mind, we feel very separated, from everything else. But when you feel that your energy, part of the bigger plan, then you feel that things will be okay, irrespective of what happens. So that's how this realization changed the narrative for me. I will be happy to hear if anybody has any other thought or perspective to share, or how it has hit them. Anybody would like to share anything?
Yeah, I have again, it's the same thing, this realization that I also have a prayer like, I am not the body, I am not the mind. I am this pure and powerful energy, which is always connected to the divine power, everywhere, every time, and each and every one of us. And now is the time, here is the moment, this is the place, you are the one, my divine power, always blessing me with good and great experiences on all aspects of my life. This one, when you read this part, this one, no, that then you will suddenly realize that, okay, you are not the mind, you are not the, but everything will be taken care if you are in awareness, as you told.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Suresh. Uh, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Manoj. So friends, I would also like to share, some of you I think are attending our session for the first time today. We have a YouTube channel, and in the past we have had sessions on The Secret and The Magic. So you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, the link which we are sharing in the chat, and you can go and see our videos there. And today's session video also will be posted on our channel. So in case you want to revisit it or you want to share it with your friends, feel free to do that. So please subscribe to our channel. And also I would like to share with you that we have these sessions every Saturday, and you can click on the link of our WhatsApp community and be a part of the community. Whole of next month, we are going to have sessions dedicated to health, some awesome sessions. I'll talk more about it later, but to stay tuned, please join our Mindful Living WhatsApp community so that you keep getting updates about what we do. Thank you. Mekhla, over to you.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you so much. And to others who shared their experience. So moving on, now we're really going into the depth of this book, the core concept that this book is trying to tell us. And now we are going to deal with those two aspects. So one, she says how to stay as awareness. So she says that there's no process to become the awareness that you are. It's not something you have to attain. This is not something that certain people have and don't have. Why? Because you are already it right now. You may have overlooked it, and you may have believed all your life that you were just a person. But that doesn't alter the fact that you are actually awareness. So this is, I think, a concept, again, something that we need to really take in and understand, that we don't have to work towards it because we already are awareness. We don't have to have a tool in place and think to ourselves, okay, I'm now going into awareness, because we're really not going into anything. We're already awareness as it is. We're just becoming more conscious of it. And then she talks about the awareness practice, and I will move into the core aspects of this practice in just a few minutes. So this is on page 55, the last paragraph. The heading is the awareness practice, 3 steps to bliss. The awareness practice is what I use. Rhonda is describing now. The awareness practice is what I use and continue to practice consciously to stay as awareness. This practice is not to become awareness, since you are that already. It's so that you can live your life consciously as the awareness that you are. And it's just 3 simple steps to a life of total freedom and lasting blissful happiness. And what are the 3 steps? Step 1, asking yourself, am I aware? The first question that we started with, am I aware? And the second question that we'll be asking, and the step 2 is noticing awareness. And the last step is staying as awareness. So let's go into this one by one and really understand this. So step 1, ask yourself, am I aware? Don't try to answer the question with your mind. I think this is a very important point that she's pointing out here today. Don't try to answer the question with your mind, am I aware? Thoughts cannot help you experience awareness. Each time you ask the question, your attention will be taken away from thinking and the mind and put on awareness. When you ask, am I aware? Awareness is present instantly. The mind may come in quickly afterward with a thought, but if it does, simply ask the question again. The more you ask the question, the longer you will remain as awareness, and the quieter your thoughts and your mind will become. So you have to keep asking that question to yourself, am I aware? Am I aware? Am I aware? After asking, am I aware? The first thing you will likely feel is a sense of relief, as any resistance you're holding in the mind and body starts to melt away. After repeatedly asking the question, am I aware? Over time, the feeling of relief will turn into a subtle feeling of peaceful happiness. You may feel a sense of serenity as your mind becomes quiet. You may feel currents of joy running through the area around your heart. So this is the area that she says that just become a little conscious and aware, because this is the part where you'll start feeling those sense of emotions of serenity, of peace, and that means you're on the right track. So the first step is, am I aware? Being in that question, asking yourself that question repeatedly until those feelings of serenity, peace starts to be felt more prominently. And the relief that she talks about here, that, the more you ask yourself, am I aware? Am I aware? And the relief that you start feeling, that relief you feel is because the mind is now falling into the background. So it's not, absolutely at the forefront. The longer the mind remains in the background with awareness present in the foreground, the greater the relief and the more happiness you will begin to feel. So this is the first step one, and I'm not going into the greater detail because then it'll take quite some time. The second step is notice awareness. So in a relatively short time of practicing step one, you will get to the point where you automatically start noticing awareness. You won't need to ask, am I aware anymore? Because in the moment you think of awareness, instantly awareness will be in the foreground and your mind will recede into the background. So this is the second step, which will come into being as we start the step one. And the more we get into that practice of asking ourselves, am I aware? Am I aware? Am I aware? We will start getting into a zone where even without asking and just becoming aware of, our own awareness, we will now, slip into step two, which is noticing awareness very instantaneously. And then she says, this is the third paragraph of step two on page number 58. Shift your attention to awareness by noticing awareness multiple times throughout the day. It won't be long before you feel a sense of exquisite relief and happiness each time you return from the turmoil of the mind to the deep peace of awareness. If you feel like your mind is covering awareness, or you feel like you've lost it all and you can't get it back, ask yourself, what is aware that awareness is lost? So just stay on track, like she's saying that it's quite an instantaneous process. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the session also, that this book is a lot about practice. It is a theoretical concept that we are all trying to understand here. But really the beauty of this practice comes into being when we start to really experience it ourselves. So this is the step two. And then the step three is very simply stay as awareness. So staying as awareness is all about where you put your attention. This is very important. This line is very important. Staying as awareness is all about where you put your attention. My teacher suggests a simple way to think about this. Our mind operates in a similar way to the lens of a camera. The mind has an automatic zoom function, and it focuses our attention on things in detail, just as you would zoom in with a camera lens for a close-up. The majority of the time, the mind is zoomed in, and we are seeing the world through focused attention, which results in a very narrow and distorted perspective of the world. But when you want to take a photograph of a wide open space, you zoom out and open the lens as wide as you can for a wide angle shot. In the same way, if you open your attention wide, so you're not focused on any detail anymore, awareness is revealed. It's a simple way to stay as awareness and let everything be just as it is. So this is the concept that she has talked about in 3 simple steps. The first was asking yourself, am I aware? The second was noticing awareness. And the third was staying as awareness. The next and the last part of today's book review that I would like to cover, which is basically the core concept of this book, is the tool, is the practice that she has talked about, that we can practice throughout our lives, every single moment of our day, which will lead us to become, more of our awareness that we already are. And that is the last part that I'd like to take up today. So this is the main practice that she talks about. So I'll just quickly skip
Is it okay if we
in
pause?
case Ashish, you want to pitch in and say something?
There is a question we have from Bhavesh. can we relate awareness by being in the present and understanding what is happening in the present? Mekhla, would you like to comment on that?
Yes, absolutely. I think being in the present moment is the way out. And in my own experience, I've always felt that when we are in the present moment, we automatically become aware. You know, we don't have to put in an effort. In fact, it's an instantaneous process that happens simultaneously. So I think the answer to it is being in the present moment. Absolutely.
Thank you, Bhavesh, for asking that question. And I would just like to add, sometimes it becomes difficult for us to understand what awareness means. And I'm speaking for myself. And she has clarified, Rhonda has clarified in the book that awareness is the same thing as being conscious, which is how I am able to understand this better. And being conscious means just doing things consciously, being in the present. So if I'm eating, I am not checking on my phone and watching the TV, but I'm just tasting everything that I'm eating, or if I'm walking or if I'm doing something, I'm fully present and engaged in the moment and not multitasking and not there. That the being conscious, being aware is synonymous. And if this helps you understand better, so be it, like it helps me understand better. So any other questions? Because now we move to the final part of the session where Mekhla is going to take us through that very important practice, which is very powerful. And even in the book, The Magic, Rhonda talks about some practices which can help dissolve problems. And this practice also, in this book also, the awareness practice helps dissolve problem. It has helped me dissolve one of the biggest challenges I was facing when Mekhla took me through this couple of days back. So before we move to the final section, any questions, comments? Okay, fair enough. So friends, just I understand most of you are already a part of our community, but in case you are not, please click on the WhatsApp group link that we have shared in the chat and join our community so that you get updates about the awesome sessions we conduct every weekend. Thank you, and over to you, Mekhla.
Thank you, Ashish. So now we come to the last part of this session, but of course this book deals with it in a much more detailed way. So I would again urge everyone to go through this book. But coming to the core practice, that is the main concept that she's talking about in this book, which we can absolutely practically experience, practice throughout, and really experience this bliss that she's talking about, irrespective of what's happening in our life. So she says, I want to share with you an invaluable practice that my teacher gave me that changed my life, and I continue to use every single day. This is a simple but powerful combination of the two most important and vital practices of this book, welcoming and staying as awareness. My teacher says that while you stay as awareness, the body is an automatic self-cleaning mechanism. Okay, this is a very powerful line again, and I will probably discuss it during Q&A when we are, we've wrapped up the discussion part of it. What that means is that while you stay or rest as awareness, the trapped energy from every negative emotion is unwinding automatically and being released from your body by itself. Can you imagine how beautiful that is? You can sometimes feel the energy unwinding around the area of your chest. So again, she's emphasizing on this part of our body where, the sensations can be felt. So now let's talk about the practice. Again, she has divided the core practice into 2 steps. The first step is welcome anything negative. And I will read about this very vital practice, which is on page number 133. So she says, open your heart and welcome any negative reaction, negative feeling, negative sensation, negative thought, or problems the moment they appear. So what I do is that I just close my eyes. Sometimes, I'm in the middle of work, I'm in an office situation and something's stressing me out. I simply close my eyes and I bring that emotion of negativity or stress or whatever it is that's causing me disturbance. I bring it into my being and I just welcome it. And I say this line to that thought, I welcome you with loving awareness. I welcome this thought of pain with loving awareness. I welcome this thought of fear with loving awareness, whatever it is that is causing you disturbance. I just say that I bring that thought into my awareness and I say to it, I welcome you with loving awareness. So that is step 1. The step number 2 is the final step. Stay as awareness by keeping your attention wide like the lens of a camera. So it's not focused on any detail. This is crucial to understand. Conceptually, while we are reading it theoretically, some of us may not be able to understand this, but I can assure you when you will start practicing this tool, you will definitely be able to experience it. I'll repeat this again. Stay as awareness. Stay as awareness by keeping your attention wide like the lens on a camera. So it's not focused on any detail. So while the thought has come into your awareness, the negative thought or emotion that you brought about into your awareness, now you have to, widen the lens of your attention like a wide lens camera. So it's not focused now on the negativity aspect of it. Because awareness is a naturally welcoming exercise, you will find that after doing the super practice for a while, the two steps will start to merge into one. The moment you will welcome it, you will find that awareness is instantaneously present. So since doing this practice, I've noticed that any negative emotion and reactions have become much weaker. I even reached a point where I loved a negative emotion or a negative reaction to come up, because it not only reminded me to welcome it and stay as awareness, but it felt so good when it dissolved. So basically what she says is the moment you're welcoming it and you become aware of it, and your awareness and attention is like the lens of a wide camera, the problem or the negative emotion itself starts to dissolve while you're staying as awareness. And there comes a point, and I have actually gone through this experience where I even forget what I was stressful about in the first place. And that is a sure shot sign that you have definitely released it. Sometimes I feel it physically, sometimes I don't. Sometimes the feeling of relief is slightly later. But this is basically the practice that she talks about. This she calls the super practice or the welcoming practice. And this is the core aspect of this book. And like I said, I mean, there is tons and tons of pages dedicated to this practice of, how to really do it, how to really go about it. She's explained it in a beautiful yet very simple way. But since we don't have the kind of time to discuss it in that much detail, I'm just going to end it here with this practice. And I know there will be hundreds of questions in your mind at the moment in terms of understanding what this practice is all about, but I would again urge to just practice it. And definitely that will be an experience to remember. And this is something we can do every single moment of our lives. We don't even have to sit in a meditative pose. We don't have to take out time for this. I mean, while we are talking to anyone, we can just stay as awareness. So that's what I would like to wrap up with, Ashish. And now over to you.
Thank you so much, Mekhla, for that very beautiful book reading of this awesome book. And friends, we'll pause here to see if you have any questions or comments, or simply to let you absorb everything that we have discussed so far. And while you are reflecting or getting ready to share your questions, I would like to share my take on this awareness exercise, which Mekhla shared. And it is that, we are most of the times pushing things away, what we don't like, and craving for what we like. And when Rhonda says that just be aware or welcome even the negative situations, we take the sting out of the negative situations, and we just observe them. And when we observe, it loses its power and it dissolves and it goes away. It's very simple. It's also very, it's a bit like the Vipassana practice, where you are just the observer and you just see. So if initially when I came across this exercise, I thought welcoming negativity, how can I welcome negativity? And then another thought came was, if I welcome negativity, will I start attracting more negative situations? No, but don't take welcoming in a literal sense. Take welcoming, as that we just welcome it's coming up. And in a way, it is good that it is coming up, because then it gives you an opportunity to let go, observe and let go. So, my mom says ki paap kat gaye, so if it comes, you observe, you let it go, then you have one less thing to deal with. So that way it's very powerful. We'll be happy to hear any questions or comments that you have.
And before I take up questions, in case anybody would like to ask, I'd like to share one real life experience. There was this one particular night that I was having a severe backache. Suddenly, it just came out of nowhere, and it was low back pain, and I've been having back issues, but this one seemed a little weird. It didn't feel the way I usually have it, and it was quite deep. And I thought, why not apply this practice, the super practice, to this pain right now? And I'm just give you an example of how you can apply it to anything in your life. It can be a physical body pain, it can be a negative emotion, it can be anything. And I really became aware of the pain, and I welcomed the pain. I mean, literally, and the moment you welcome the pain, what happens is the resistance to pain, and for it to go away, that feeling diminishes and it dissolves. So there is no resistance anymore, So the moment I said I welcome this pain that I'm experiencing right now with loving awareness, I really felt that something within me started opening up. And instead of just looking at this pain with a very strong attention to detail, I started looking at it like a wide lens camera, and with awareness. And it was a matter of, I think, a few minutes that I started experiencing relief from the pain. It really happened. And I was so shocked and surprised that, I mean, here I would have been applying some balm or some cream or taking some medicine to give myself relief. But it was just, being in awareness of it, and it dissolving. So I thought I'll share this experience.
Yeah, question.
Yes.
One question, it continues what Ashish was talking about, the brilliant thing, and some interpretations on the I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. If you had to tell a single one-liner on that, your interpretation on that, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, what would be your takeaway?
I think what she's trying to essentially say is that we are souls, we are spirits, we are consciousness who are experiencing these bodily human experiences. But actually, we are none of these. We are just going through these experiences to probably learn something about ourselves, learn something about our life. But we are essentially spirits or consciousness who are in our body vehicle to experience something. I think that's what she's essentially trying to tell us. Or any spiritual writer or author or leader who are really trying to tell us that essentially we are not this. We don't have to identify and attach ourselves to this concept, because the more we do, the more we sort of suffer, the more we attach ourselves to this identity of who we want to be according to the definitions of the world. But we are actually none of these.
So if I may just add to what Mekhla said, Suresh, if we start seeing ourselves as the seer, somebody who is just seeing rather than experiencing, that's what makes the difference. Otherwise we just get caught and we get entangled. But if we just observe, then we realize that we are a third party. We are that consciousness. We are that awareness.
Thank you.
I hope that helps, Suresh.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Ashmita, you had a question?
Yes, I had a question. My question was, when you were mentioning about welcoming something which is happening, something negative happening in your body, once you welcome, it starts diminishing. Now, if I have a relationship problem with somebody and I'm not getting along with somebody, so in that scenario also, I welcome this negativity in terms of कि और fight हो रहा है तो होने दो. How does it work? I mean, especially in relationship, I cannot welcome negative things, correct? I need to say that my problem with this person needs to heal. So how do I address that?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Ashmita. So basically, she's asking you to be in awareness of the negative emotion and feeling that you're feeling because of that bad relationship. She's not asking to focus on the drama of it, of what fight is happening and who's saying what, and how it is affecting us. The hurt or upset or disappointment that you're feeling in that moment because of that relationship issue is what she's saying that you need to be in awareness of, and then move along the other steps where, as you become aware and welcome those feelings of pain, hurt, or whatever it is that you're feeling as a result of that relationship, as a result of being aware of it, it starts to dissolve. She's also spoken in this book in a little later, and if some of you get the time, please have a look at her YouTube page, where she has given a lot of these interviews about this practice in particular. And she says that sometimes some issue releasing doesn't happen instantaneously of starting this awareness practice. Sometimes it takes a couple of days, sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it happens instantly. So it's not really a very time specific defined period of when and how and what will happen. All she says is keep doing this and focus on the feeling that you're feeling, the negativity that you're feeling, not the drama or the situation of who's saying what and how is that impacting you and things like that. What you're feeling is what you need to focus on and be in awareness of, and then it starts to dissolve.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashmita, for asking that. Friends, any other comments or questions? If you like the session, you can show love or thumbs up, or you can ask us questions, anything that goes, but please be communicative. Our session next week, thank you, Suresh. Our session, so whole of April, we are dedicating to sessions on health. 7th of April is World Health Day, and we have got a lineup of amazing speakers, and you will hear things that you normally don't hear about in the mainstream media, because mainstream media is just interested in pushing you pills. You have a problem, take this pill. You have a pain, take this pill. You've got hypertension, take this pill. You've got diabetes, take this pill. They don't tell you that how can you get healthy and how can you reverse diabetes. So we're going to have some awesome speakers, and we're going to have sessions on sound therapy. We're going to have sessions on mind-body medicine, on naturopathy, on reversing your chronic life conditions. So please stay connected with us. Please be a part of the community, stay active in the community. And most of you are part of our community. What we will appreciate is if you can share in the community your takeaways from the session today. That will really help you internalize the learning from the session today when you share in the community. Also, please share with us your feedback. Your feedback is very valuable to us. And also share with your friends about the session today. We have shared in the community about the Facebook link, that we will be sharing the YouTube link. So please share with your friends so that they also learn the secret to lasting peace and happiness. Thank you, friends, for taking out time and joining us today. Thank you, Mekhla, for taking our time. Mekhla has traveled like 9 hours today, and she has come back, fully charged up from a spiritual retreat to deliver this session for us. So we are so blessed to have you, Mekhla, have this session.
Ashish, it's been an honor. It's been an honor, and thank you so much for organizing these beautiful sessions on this platform and having this intention for people to experience health, happiness, joy in their lives. And it is so beautiful to see that you're covering such a wide variety of subjects, right from financial management to health and happiness to relationship to everything really that matters. And a huge round of applause to you and your platform and your team for being able to do this work time and again every single week. And this is really incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mekhla. I think we have a question from Bhavesh. Bhavesh, please go on.
Yes.
That's the last question, and then we will draw the session to a close.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Mekhla. First of all, thanks for such a wonderful session and insights. You made the book really easy for us to understand. And thanks, Ashish, for arranging such wonderful sessions week after week. Yeah. So my this is not exactly a question. It is about understanding that what I have understood is right or not, because always examples can help us understand better. As you mentioned an example of your backache, which you just shared. Let's see, if I take another scenario or how to deal with it. Let's say a scenario is a person not getting a promotion at work. So that is a scenario. Now, if we look at this, and it is divided into 2 phases we have to take. First is we need to welcome it. So if I take it that I'm that person who has not got that promotion at work. So if I first of all welcome it, means I don't hesitate or I don't resist it. I accept it, what has happened, and I allow it to, okay, I be like brother to it. Okay, I don't make it distant from me. It's not like that. I don't look away from it. I look at it, I say it's okay, what has happened, and okay, now let us understand why it has happened. Once I try to do this way, I think I will be welcoming that scenario, what has happened. And then moving on, as you said, that we need to look at wide angle scenario. That is, If mentioning wide angle scenario is coming back and zooming it out and looking at the overall perspective. So I'll not think like this has happened to me. I'll zoom out and I'll think I'm not the only one. There are also so many others who have not got promotion this year. Let me focus why this has happened. What could be the things, or what is that learning which this event wants me to learn out of it, and where am I falling short? If I am able to connect these dots, maybe I'll be able to come out better out of it next time. Is this the way?
So Bhavesh, very good situation and question you've asked today. What you said today were looking like the workings of a mind, because you were asking a lot of such scenarios that, okay, what if I ask this and what if that happens? So this was your mind which was working right now, which was at the forefront, and which was trying to basically find a logic. Okay, this is how I will, explain it to myself, and this is how I will do it. So this practice is actually very simple. It is so simple, it is crazily simple for us to really believe that, okay, this can really solve our issue. So this practice is about not asking anything. And so let's say this example that you've taken about not getting a promotion. So again, focus on the feeling that you're feeling as a result of not getting promoted. It could be frustration, it could be anger, it could be resentment, it could be whatever it is that you're feeling. So again, asking, am I aware? And staying in awareness of that feeling that you're feeling as a result of not getting promoted. Those thoughts that are coming into your mind as a result of not getting promoted, and bringing that into your awareness. And just staying in awareness, like, not just focusing on that thought very specifically in attentive detail, but, like a wide lens camera, the way she has spoken about in the book. Like I said, theoretically, this will sound not very practical, but when we start to do it, it becomes much more easier to really understand what this practice is all about. And the more you will stay in awareness, not asking, not releasing, not resisting, nothing, just being in awareness, you will start to see that these thoughts will dissipate. You will start to see that the negativity over a period of time, it could be instantaneous, it could be over a period of few weeks or days or few hours, will start to have a weaker impact on you as a person. And you will not feel the need to worry about it or feel disturbed about it. And what she's saying is that once that starts to happen, your energy starts to change. When your energy starts to change, the situation around you will automatically change. So she's promising you that future, but she says first we need to just stay in awareness. So no questioning of asking, okay, is that happening to that someone, or what if I look at it this way? So those are all workings of the mind right now, which is going on, and which is very natural. And she has explained in this book very beautifully that every time you'll ask this question, am I aware, the mind will come in, and it will start to ask similar kind of questions that you just asked. So I would urge you to practice it today when you're sitting, and just focus on that feeling of frustration or upsetness or whatever it is that's causing you a sense of disbalance. That's what I would like to say. Maybe Ashish should like to add something.
Yeah, thank you, Mekhla, for that beautiful answer. There's one more thing, and this may just help the mind to put the mind at ease. It's a true story about Dr. APJ Kalam. And he wanted to be a pilot, Air Force pilot, and he appeared for the exam, but he couldn't qualify for it. And he was very dejected. Normally when we don't get what we want, we feel dejected. But see what happened, so look at the trajectory of his life. He went on to become the missile man and the president of India. So sometimes, when things don't go our way, we feel very dejected. But let me assure you that there is something better that the universe has in store for us. And so remain positive, stay aware. And that's what that gives us energy to be positive. And we don't know what's in store for us. What would have been the future of our country if APJ Kalam would have been, Dr. APJ Kalam would have been an Air Force pilot, and compared to what we got from him, as a missile man and then as president of India. So, we don't know what's in store for us. So on that positive note, thank you everybody for joining us today. Have a nice weekend, and look forward to seeing you on 2nd of April. The session would be at 5 p.m. on 2nd of April. Block your calendars for an awesome session on health, on things that you would not have heard earlier. I promise you that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Have a
Ashish.
lovely
Thank you,
day.
Mekhla.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.